Wow.
So, yeah, why don't we talk about like this video and how we got to know each other? I know there's a lot of people who maybe it's their first time knowing you and I,
Okay.
and for me, it's just like you're doing this ministry. Yeah, what sparked that interest for you? Where and how do you have that heart for it?
Um, yeah, so it's a parachurch ministry, meaning just people from any different church getting to mingle together. But I started over 10 years ago,
Hmm.
um, is where I would say I started before 2013. Just
Mm.
a lot of friends, I got married, but a lot of my friends were still single, and we stayed in touch, and they were every year sharing about something new that was really hard about being a Christian single, even back then, right? And in so many ways, it's only gotten harder. And
Yeah.
but around 2013, I volunteered at my church doing data entry,
Hmm.
just because I had time. And they said enter the visitor cards. And so that's all I did. I had no agenda. But when I was entering the visitor cards, I noticed that about 40% of the first time visitors were single adults.
Oh, okay.
Well, when I looked at the church, in most churches, 40% were not Christian singles.
Huh. Uh-huh.
And it caught my attention. And I kind of, it broke my heart. I came to realize that for a number of Christian singles, not everybody,
Mm.
but I think for many, they'll show up at a church hoping to find connection.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's just sometimes hard when you show up on your own to just find that connection,
Yeah.
any kind of community, really. And then maybe
Yeah.
they're hoping to make a same-gendered friend, or maybe they're even
Yeah.
hoping to date someone. Uh,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
but you come to a church and there's no way of knowing when you look out at the sea of people. Are,
Right.
is there even one other Christian single here? They just don't know. And so I think sometimes they're like, well, I
Mm.
tried this church a couple times.
Mm.
Maybe I'll try the next one. And I just feel like some people float.
Yeah. Yeah. Around, Rebecca, I've been single for some time. How would you think about, is it a good timing for you to go out and date?
When is it a good time to date? When is it the right time to date? Am I ready yet or not?
Yeah.
I love this question.
Hmm.
I think in America, there's sort of this, you prepare for college and then you're ready and then you get your resume. That's
Yeah.
not real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's not
Um,
as linear. Yes.
right. It's not as
Hmm.
linear. Even if you don't think you want to get married in the next 2 or 3 years for whatever your reasons are,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't think you want to get married in the next 2 or 3 years,
Hmm.
today is still the right time to start making friends, cross-gendered friends.
Right. Ooh, yeah. Hmm.
Because in 2 or 3 years, when you start thinking, yes, this is the time, if you haven't been building those friendships all along,
Hmm.
you're going to wake up ready and know nobody.
Right. Right.
And now you're ready, but it's going to take another 2 or 3 years of online dating or visiting
Yeah.
or starting from
Uh,
scratch. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people find themselves in that boat.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
They say, I want to put my career first. And I'm like, well,
Mm.
I have two things to say about that.
Hmm.
Number one, if you really feel like you need to put your career first, then put it before dating, but don't put it before community.
Mm.
Don't put it
Mm.
before friendships. Um,
Hmm.
and I believe that God puts us on this earth, even for professions. I believe He can give us callings into lots of professions. But His
Hmm.
biggest calling is that we love the people around us. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
always meant to be in community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're really following God, we're going to prioritize time with friends and
Yeah.
family. So even if you're not dating, please be doing that, right?
Right. Right.
But my number two thought, and I really hope that there's at least one person here today that will hear this.
Hmm.
If you one day plan to work full time, be married, start a family,
Hmm.
that's a lot of juggling, right?
Mm.
If one day you plan to have a career and a marriage and be a parent, one day I'm going to juggle all of that. Why can't we practice juggling dating and
Mm-hmm.
here now.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, one of the main, I don't know if my husband remembers this or not, but one of the main things about my husband that I noticed that made me want to marry him
Mm-hmm.
um, was while we were still friends, we were in a Bible study.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he would share as a prayer request, I have this, huge exam tomorrow, guys. Will you pray for me? I have
Yeah.
I have a job application I need to fill out. Will you guys pray for me? And one
Yeah.
day afterwards, I said, "Wow, with such a huge deadline tomorrow, like, how are you even here?" Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, I made a commitment to the Lord to be a part of this Bible study.
Mm.
And so I feel like when I put the commitments I've given God, when I put that first,
Yes. Yeah.
it takes care of the rest."
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, this is someone who's not a workaholic,
Who knows how to draw boundaries? Yes.
knows how to
Who
put
knows
boundaries."
how to prioritize? Yeah.
So I say, practice having boundaries with your job now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I
That's
can
fantastic. It's an important message. You're right because it's. I mean, I I came from fairly high performing academic institutions, and 10 years we have our reunion, and I mean they're doing fine with the families but not spectacular, and I'm sure that no one, when they came out graduating, they say, oh, I just want to have a mediocre relationship with my kids and my spouse. No one would say that, but by virtue of being graduated from a top business school, they prioritize being a partner of a law firm, being the CEO. That when you do that and not draw boundaries, you end up with poor relationships.
Mhm,
I want to date, but
mhm.
be so anxious about going out there and finding one, and
Yep.
I'm just gonna keep praying, and it'll be fine because the Lord provides. What are your thoughts around that one?
Um, I have a lot of thoughts on that one. I feel like the phrase "the Lord provides" is 100% true, and if we're not careful, 100% misleading. I have not heard many pastors or Bible teachers say, "The Lord provides, so don't go home and study for your exam." Like, no, no,
Right.
this is not a joke. Or "The Lord provides, so don't bother sending out resumes. Go
Hmm.
home and pray twice as hard for a great job."
Yes.
We can be led of the Lord, but still
Mm-hmm.
do the practical thing
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
showing somewhere where there's other Christian singles and saying hello. And I mean, even when God would do miracles in the Bible, even when Jesus would do miracles, he almost
Yeah.
always asked us to do a part.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
fill the jugs with water. Use
Right.
the rod to strike, the sea.
Yeah.
Gather
Yeah.
the little bits of fish and bread. God does do. It is God that does the miracles, but He always invites us into that process.
Mm-hmm.
In the time of Jesus, I don't think singles sat at home and just prayed and waited either.
No, absolutely right. Yes. Yeah.
There were other societal functions and actions, sometimes even arranged marriages, right?
Yeah.
So even in the time of Jesus, just sitting home and praying was not what they did.
Sometimes I'm not going to approach them. It's the guy's job to approach me. And why is it only this particular girl who gets all the attention? I don't know what appear more attractive for a guy.
Right. All right. I feel like I have seen a number of things that do help. I
Yeah.
really do. I've hosted a number of speed dating events, and I'll sometimes watch and guess which ladies are going to get the most matches.
Oh, yeah.
And I've typically been pleasantly surprised.
Uh-huh.
Pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
If she looks like she enjoys the company of the guy,
Mm.
she almost always gets more matches, right? So
Mm.
sometimes a stereotypical beauty queen, but she kind of is aloof, or she
Yeah.
looks bored or disinterested. Um,
Yeah.
and like, I think at a distance, she might have gotten higher marks. Um,
Yeah.
guys will come out, it was with whoever they were having fun with.
Yeah.
Whoever's laughing and smiling, and I'm not saying laugh and smile if you don't feel something's funny. Um,
Right.
but
Right.
who wants to uh, date or reach out to someone that they don't think kind of likes them? Um,
Yeah.
So sharing your joy, I guess, being
Yeah.
now for how to look, it's pretty simple. I say, trying to get a straight guy to like you want to remind him that you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Straight men choose to marry women
Yeah.
because we're women.
Or a woman. Yes, that's right. Yes.
So if it was just our faith, a guy might marry a seminary professor, no matter how old they were, right?
Uh-huh.
If it was just what we share in common, a guy could marry his basketball buddy. Women, who have faith and common interests and all these things, but at the end of
Hmm.
the day, it's also because we're a woman.
Yeah.
We don't have to be what we think is the most gorgeous woman out there, but we
No.
do
Yeah.
need to bring the woman in us to the
Femininity. Yes.
yeah, to the
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if it makes you feel like a lady, comfortable in your skin, do it in your
Yeah.
own style, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
colors that flatter you. If you feel more like a woman and presenting yourself, that side of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to get attention.
That's great. I'd love to go into those topics a bit more, but I just want to affirm what you just said, especially as a guy.
Okay.
I think about there's two parts to it. One is the initial attraction, which is split second, and the next is the conversation.
Mhm.
So, like you say, you may be the beauty queen and most attractive. That attracts me towards you. But ultimately, what keeps me there is that conversation, and a big part is like what you say, that joy, that if you're having a good time or we're having a great conversation there.
Right.
What does accentuating the femininity look like for you?
So more tips on how to dress if you want to attract somebody. So
Yeah.
I say bright colors and I say solid colors.
Mm,
Solid because it shows your silhouette more. Busy patterns break that up. Uh,
mm,
and bright colors because bright colors are just going to get someone to notice you at all, right? Um,
yes.
so there's
Yes.
that. So, whether your hair is down or whether it's up, um,
Yeah.
people are
Uh-huh.
looking at you now because you're bright colors. Um, and, a V-neck, all of this,
Oh.
all this is modest.
Yes. Yeah.
But a V-neck's better than a circle. Sleeveless
Mm,
better than this, right? A
mm-hmm.
t-shirt that is fitted is better than just like a straight thing. Um,
Mm,
these are simple things. Again, you can, how do I put it? Like it can be the winter and you can have on black stockings and a long skirt, and there's still something about the fact that it's a skirt. Like, um,
exactly. Yes.
I gotta tell you, ladies, if it's old fashioned, then don't do it. But I have met so many men and they say, are there any ladies that wear dresses anymore? I just want to go with someone who wears a dress. I
Yes.
hear it. And again, if that offends you, you don't need to do it. But
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
these are some things. If you are a woman and you consider yourself too tall, too short, too thin, too not
Mm,
too this, too that, not enough this, I have seen every body type you can imagine walk into a speed dating event.
mm-hmm.
If they are walking in bringing that woman, that X factor,
Mm-hmm.
they get matches. I've seen every
Yeah.
type get a match when they're bringing that X factor. But
Mm-hmm.
I see way less matches for all body types, et cetera, when they're not bringing that feminine side. So it's
Mm. So the second thing we want to touch upon is you mentioned, so we've got the attraction part, the next part about showing joy during the conversation. What does that feel like when you really want to open yourself up to a conversation where you can allow that joy to flow through?
okay. Well, it's a lot easier for an extrovert. I'll be honest.
That's
'Cause
true. Yeah.
if you're an extrovert, like most extroverts, you get energy just being around people, uh,
Mm-hmm.
excited just getting to meet somebody new, words
Mm-hmm.
easily. So if you're smiling and you're already hyped up, good for you, lucky you, right? I'm an extrovert, lucky me, right? But if you're an introvert listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
there's still something you can do, all right? So
Mm-hmm.
number one, mysterious is also still an attractive quality. Um, so,
Yeah.
a shy smile, enough of a smile that they, don't feel like they bored you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be chatty, chatty, chatty for them to feel special. Um, And it's not
Mm.
about making someone feel special. This is someone you're enjoying talking to, and it's okay that they know that, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but something I love to tell the shy people in my ministry is,
Mm.
if you were home with your family,
Mm.
if you were with your best friends, would you be smiling more?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be telling a joke? Would you be relaxed?
Mm.
Would you be
Mm.
more? And
Right.
if that's who you really are, if you're someone who laughs and is relaxed,
Yeah.
smiles, if that's who you really are when you're feeling safe and with people you really know, then that
Yeah.
is who you really are. And
Yeah.
so even if it might feel fake, I'm telling you it isn't fake. It's truer to who you are. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feel fake to force a smile when
Yeah.
you would have smiled if you weren't nervous, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
faking a smile when we didn't like the joke, but if it's a time you would have smiled anyways, to
Mm-hmm.
force that smile to show who you actually really are.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that can actually be
I love that idea about how you're conjuring up a warm emotion, a warm feeling. That same thing you have with a close friend of yours. Imagine yourself, talking to them. How would this interaction be like?
it's true to who you are, and you deserve it. You deserve for someone to get to know that wonderful person that you are. Even
Right.
introvert, you deserve that. So
Yeah.
good job to you.
Share that gift. Yes, exactly. Share that. Share that gift. Right, Rebecca. I think I'm ready to date. I'm in one of your events, and how do I gather that courage to talk to her? Do I have
Mm,
an opening line? Should I have a like smart, witty pickup line?
huh.
Do I just talk to her? Do I talk to a group? How would you coach me through this?
Oh, wow, this is great. This in general, in a scenario like that, you're at a party and there's that one woman, you're like, "Oh, I wanna go talk to her." I
Yeah.
would I would typically recommend to not talk to her first.
Mm.
Mhm,
Hmm.
and this isn't to play games, um,
Right. Yeah.
but, in the same way that you're looking at all the other ladies, right, the ladies are looking at all the other guys,
Hmm.
and if you ignore every woman there except for, like, the 1 or 2 super pretty ones, right?
Mm. Hmm.
Right or wrong, that sometimes says something about your character to a girl.
Ooh. Mm.
So,
Man, pay attention.
s and especially, like, the super pretty smiley girls, they're used to guys coming up all the time. So,
Hmm.
rush to them, you hover over them, you don't really pay attention to other people. They're sitting here thinking, "He knows nothing about me other than how I look."
Right.
You know?
Right.
However, if you're talking to everybody at the party,
Yeah.
then you're someone who just values people. Um,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
someone courteous, you're a gentleman, you're someone interesting, you're someone friendly, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then when you finally make your way to them, um,
Yeah.
you're just being friendly and a gentleman and getting to know them too. It's
Yeah.
a much better look.
I
So
really like that. Yeah, yeah. I love how you talk about in terms of it. It goes right to the back to the heart, right, of where I am as a guy when I do, enter a space. Just like to get to know them and enjoy them and spend time with them.
thank you for hearing that and for seeing that. And as a Christian, I just believe
Mm-hmm.
so much that everywhere we go, it's okay to want our needs met. Like, it's okay for me to go to a restaurant and order food, right? Like, it's
Hmm.
okay. But everywhere we go, I think we're supposed to be thinking, like, who can we serve that's around us?
Right. Yeah, I love that.
Who
Yeah.
can we encourage, right? Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tip well and I'm gonna be polite. Like there are all these things you do. And so when you
Yeah.
go on a date or to an event like this, like who else can you bless? Uh,
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
that's your attitude, I think
Yeah.
the Lord will be
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah,
So
it is great. So, okay, I'm going to move on a bit. So, Rebecca, say is fantastic. I get to do my rounds. I get to talk to several people, and I'm in the group of ladies, and maybe I even get to talk to a lady who I want to get to know more. Right? How would I go about it? I mean,
all this kind of stuff. But so many fun things to say here. Number one, women respond a lot to feelings. Uh,
mm,
If you're going to talk about your job, talk about why you enjoy it, not like the languages you code in, right? Okay, so it's not about details. No,
Uh-huh.
don't list all the brothers and sisters you have. Talk about
Uh-huh.
you love your family or what you like about this one. That helps it stay more emotional and feeling based and be less boring.
Mm,
But
interesting.
my bigger tip would be to try not to talk too much at all. I say this to both the men and the women.
Yeah.
When you're asked a question, just a couple sentences, give it an answer it, right? A couple sentences, but don't forget to ask someone a question too. And
Hmm.
my favorite tip for guys, because women, if you're hearing this message, if you want to be that kind of woman that just takes his breath away, then recognize it's going to be hard for him to figure out what to say. It's so hard. I just
Thank you. Yes. Guys definitely struggle. I think I'm pretty good at conversations. Sometimes I think about, where am I getting? And the great interactions I've had are those where the lady, the other person also drives and also makes me feel like, oh, this is engaging. I assume you are, right? Then, it is engaging for you. You want to continue this. It's not just like me unilaterally thinking this is a good conversation. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing about the feeling parts, absolutely. I know there's a lot of men hearing this. Funny enough, I just like written out prayers for my men's group, and a lot of them is like fact based. Even as men within ourselves have a hard time talking about feelings. We're getting there, but hey, here's another incentive for you to talk about feelings, which is girls dig it. So men, have that feelings wheel around, carry with you, maybe not physically, in your mind as you talk about it. And just to add on to top, my personal experience is usually 1-2 punch, right? You ask about what is the weather like or what is your job, but the next killer question is, how do you feel about it? My
Mm.
job is in ministry, or my job is in accounting, or I'm a teacher. How do you feel about it? Whoa, you've gone
I love
straight
that.
into,
I love
right?
that. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I'm going to use that in the future if I can. And then another thing that sometimes will help men or women in a
Hmm.
conversation setting is asking a follow-up question. Harvard even did a study on this.
Yeah,
I made a video about it first, and then Harvard did a research paper on it.
absolutely. You should have a name on your first author name on it.
But they said a key indicator in success when getting to meet other people and be well liked is,
Mhm.
do you ask a follow-up question?
Mm.
So if you
Mhm.
ask her about her job and she tells you what her job is, rather
Yeah.
than be like, okay, what's the next question I was prepared to ask today, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, ask a follow-up question. Oh, what is it about that job that you enjoy? Um, or
Yeah. Yeah.
or even just how long have you done that job?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because the only way you can ask a follow-up question is if you remember the first thing she said.
Shows you're listening, right?
And guys, if you give a woman the impression that you remember what she's like, you're listening, you're hearing, you're
Yeah.
understanding, you're considering, you're thinking about what she said enough to be able to form the next question, you actually already stand out. So this is a
Ding,
good.
ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. And just to follow up, I mean, this is Gottman Institute, right? So follow up reminds me of this bit of a study that Gottman Institute did for married and divorced. Someone says, "Oh, this is a bird," for example, right? The less successful marriages are those who just turn away or turn to. It's like, "Oh, who cares? I don't care," or just ignores it. But the more successful ones are those who actually respond to it and turn to. Oh,
Mhm.
that is a very lovely bird, honey. So gauge your future success in marriage. Even this is fantastic.
It's called caring about the other person and just being there
Right.
for them. Yeah,
It's a skill.
and I'm glad you mentioned like it resonates throughout all of life because if there was just one thing I wanted people to hear today, it would be the power and importance of having Christian friends. Uh,
Mm.
to find someone to marry, having Christian friends is everything. If it's just same gendered friends, it will still work. Having opposite gendered friends will help even more, but just have
Mm-hmm.
friends. And this is what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. So let's say you're at a church and there's a new guy. You're a woman and you have a girlfriend. You could walk over to a single guy and invite him to join a group lunch.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a little bit of an easier ask. What's way easier if a guy and girlfriend go
Mm-hmm.
with a girl and invite her to lunch. So the next time you go to a party actually at her house and
Mm-hmm.
there's 3 other girls, like every friend you make is going
Mm-hmm.
to introduce you to 3 to 5 other Christian singles. If you
Mm.
stay friends with them long enough, your network grows and grows. And this is the should be obvious, but a lot of people don't see it that way. Um, you can spend 1,000 hours on online dating to get at most I know nothing about them but a write up and a
Yeah.
photo. You're going to drive across town, park, spend
Yeah.
2 hours, and I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting that online dating doesn't help or isn't even worth
I will
that.
suggest that, but that again another episode. But yes, it's much easier to build from friendship. I get you. Yeah.
Oh, when you're meeting the friends of your friends, when you're meeting the
Mm-hmm.
friends of your friends, not only is it possibly safer and a whole bunch of things, when you're meeting the friends of your friends, you already know that this is someone you're probably going to love.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Like they
It
have
is someone in context. Yes.
yes, a
Right.
level of social skills, a level of shared interests. It's so
Yeah.
much more efficient. And
Yeah.
even if things go south, there's a breakup, whatever,
Yeah.
um, you have this wide network of friends now. You're not starting from scratch. It's not like
Right.
investing months into this one online dating person and now they're gone. And what do you really have left?
Right.
I could go on.
Yeah.
Um, number one, when you do start dating someone, you want to introduce them to friends that will help screen them, that will help see the
Mm-hmm.
rest you don't see.
Love it.
Not all of us have family in town or family we trust or XYZ, but if you
Mm-hmm.
have Christian friends, they'll help you out. And you're
Yeah.
going to see red flags in someone a lot better in a group context. Okay, well, so another really key reason why, and women, I really need you to hear me when I say this. Um,
Mm.
so many girls will say to me, so many young ladies will say to me, you know what my dream way is to find my husband?
Yes.
We're going to be friends first and really know each other as friends, and then we'll fall in love. I'm not making fun of it, ladies. I think that's the ideal way to do it. That's actually how my husband and I fell in love. That is
Right.
that's golden, that's wisdom. But the only way you're ever going to have a guy friend that you magically fall in love with one day is to have a guy friend.
Ta-da!
And I know so many women and they're like, "Well, yeah, he's nice and everything, but I don't think he's the one. You know,
Uh-huh.
he's nice and everything, but I just am not attracted to him."
Right.
So they leave these great guys in the
Uh-huh.
dust. And I'm sitting here thinking, these are probably the great guys that you would have fallen in love with one day if you had given
If
them.
you had
Mhm.
given them time, given them a chance to spend time. Exactly. Yes.
Right, right. But women, even if you don't think that you would ever fall in love with him, at least
Right.
that he's a guy that you could serve by including him in your wonderful community, that will one day fall in love with him, and you'll be happy because you won't be forced to marry him. You'll want to marry him. And you
Right.
just want to say again, every time you meet someone, I pray
Mhm.
that you'll say, God, how can I serve this person? If you find a
Yeah.
man or a woman, a Christian single, and they seem like a good person, then God, how can I serve them? What friends can I introduce them to? What roles
Mm.
can I help them find? What networking and job events might minister to them? What
Yeah.
friends introduce them to? Serve
Yeah.
other people, and before you know it, you'll be blessed.
Yeah, and you have common ministry, common story. Again, going to the marriage, right thing, right? A lot of studies show that successful marriages aren't just between you loving another person, you love another person. It's either based on two sinful people trying to love each other.
Yeah.
Rather, it is looking towards a common goal for us Christians. It'll be God, but it'll be a ministry that we both run and serve together. So
Oh, Athens, you keep saying everything important because I almost forgot. One of the best parts of having a ton of Christian friends is they will give you a more successful marriage, a
Mhm.
more successful marriage. Because every now and then you're going to want time away from your spouse. You're going to
Oh
have your
yeah.
friends there.
Mhm.
Uh, your spouse goes hunting, you go with your friends and vice versa. And maybe it's the wife that,
And as patient as I am, and most amazing human being I am, I'm gonna have arguments with my wife, and I'm gonna tell my friends that I am right and she's wrong, and they're there to tell me no.
right.
Support you throughout the lows as well as highs.
Mhm.
I'll add one little more reason. I'll transition to my last and final question. I think one reason is that a lot of the traits that you'd want to find in a spouse, we can only see in your friendship and a group setting. It's not exactly apparent that we're going to go into the traits soon that you see it in the first few seconds. I would even argue if you're immediately attracted to someone in the first few seconds, you're probably looking at the physical surface stuff and not the real stuff. So let's turn towards that traits that one should look for, Rebecca. So yeah, let's say I've got to know a person a bit more. Maybe we're in the same. We invite them out for a board game, or maybe even coffee if it goes that far. But what would be things you'd think? Oh, this is really attractive, or maybe
Well, Athens, I wish I had something amazing and original here to say, but I'm going to rely on what the Bible said, like, a
come
long
on.
time ago. Yeah. It says in Galatians 5, this is the fruit of the Spirit, that
Mm,
the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. So
mm,
he might preach well on stage or sing with a beautiful voice, but that's not why we're going to date him,
mm-hmm,
right? We're going to date him because of his self-control and his kindness, his
mm-hmm,
she might have a great smile. She might laugh at your jokes.
mm-hmm,
She might have an MBA. She might have a lot of amazing things.
mm-hmm,
But is she forgiving? Is
mm,
the love? Because when the fruit of the Spirit is love, then you got to go to 1 Corinthians 13. Well, what is love, right? And a way to notice that, okay, once you
yeah,
know what to look for, see how they behave when things go away they're not expecting. When plans
mm,
So when plans change or they're having a bad day, they don't get their way.
mm-hmm,
Um, there's, when there's kind of a switch up, maybe
mm-hmm,
when they're around someone that they don't think can benefit them, like the way they treat a waitress, or,
mm,
maybe
right,
someone that they don't think is attractive, or, less
mm-hmm,
whatever. Like, how do they
yeah.
treat everybody? So how do they treat you over time? But that's where they're going to be on their best behavior. How do they treat others?
How the other people, especially friends who've been with them for a long time, whether they keep those friends, right? They're able to retain that friendship for an extended period.
I love that, Athens. Yes. When someone can maintain a long-term friendship with people of quality, that says a
Mm.
lot.
I'm some of the ladies sometimes I hear, I want someone who's tall, blonde and blue eyes and is a doctor and, bring home the bacon. Like, how would one wrestle that? I mean, I can see why. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have two things to say, and I hope
Mm.
I hope they both hit you the way I hope. Something beautiful about Jesus, it actually says in scripture that he wasn't known for his good appearance.
Hmm.
He wasn't necessarily like scary to look at or whatever that would mean. But people weren't drawn to Jesus for his physical charisma or anything like that. It was
Hmm.
his character. It was his love. Um,
Mm.
so ladies, I really think that should be our standard in general. Uh,
Yeah.
but what I really want to warn you about is that when we say that we want someone this high, this short, this rich, this whatever, guy or woman, when you have this list you're looking for, you need to remember that um, going to a grocery store in America, you have 20 different brands of cereal that are always in stock.
Mm.
And maybe if the one you really want isn't there that week, that, if I come back next week, it will be. Um,
Mm.
but that's a grocery store in America. That's a menu at Baskin Robbins. Maybe that's like a Netflix show with like 50 others in the queue.
Hmm.
That is not humans. That is not. And
There you go.
I feel like
Preach.
yeah. And as an American, I feel like we sometimes shoot ourselves in the foot because we think that whatever we want is right around the corner. I'm, I, I'm not suggesting we marry people we don't love, and I'm definitely not suggesting we marry someone who doesn't have the character of Christ or at least seeking after that really devotely, or, you know. But I am suggesting that if they are a great person and you like being around them and you're ruling them out for these smaller things, take one more look at them for a second.
I think also with this whole Syria example, right, you're really pointing out the consumeristic mindset that instead of asking what is it in for me, question I ask myself mainly is how am I able to serve the lady sitting across me? So put it this way, my language of love, you know, heard about that like quality time and gifts. So my strongest in terms of giving is words of affirmation. So there's a few times when I see the lady on the opposite side really reacting well towards it, and which then makes me think, ah, great, I'm able to offer a lot to her life. I'm able to love her or even see her the way God does. So it's that change in paradigm, really.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think that's what's going to take, to everybody listening to this, is a change of paradigm. Are we dating to serve and uplift others? Respecting ourselves too. Trying to have a character of Christ ourselves, trying to find that in others, doing it in a community where everyone's getting blessed because we're having community. And
Yeah.
that's God's way. And I think his way works. So.
Rebekah, this is fantastic. And these are topics that we can discuss and have that space for that. So, Rebekah, if there are any more questions that people may have or want to reach out to you or watch some of those really like cool videos, where can they look you up or connect with you?
Thank you. I have a free website, christiansinglesboston.org. christiansinglesboston.org, and I have videos. And if you're a church leader or a Christian single and you want to grow a ministry at your church, again, for free, I'm more than happy to help you brainstorm what that could look like at your church.
When you do see Rebekah, talk to her. I'm such a privilege and honor to get to have that relationship with her. She gives a lot of like useful tips. I share stories with her, and she gives amazing advice, and even not just like someone to share that journey with. So with that, Rebekah, I'm going to close out, but I just want to say thank you so much. You've been an amazing friend and someone to journey through this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And God loves Christian singles.
That's right. God's love them. Okay. How about before we close out, let me just pray for all of us. Yeah. Bow our head, close our eyes. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for Rebekah's heart, for her to be able to just create this ministry together to serve the singles within Boston, for us to really address loneliness. For God, the way you have made us is not to be by ourselves, but with others, in relation with others. And God willing, if it's your will, for us to be married as well and to advance your ministry. So God, please continue blessing this ministry, bless our friendship, our relationship, anything that comes out from this that is to your calling. God, we lift this to your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And Athens, whether or not this is easy or hard to edit, whether or not anything ever comes from this video, I had a blessed day today. I had a blessed time, and
love it.
Thank you for believing in this ministry. So.